Welcome to Tasty Reviews. Once again, beer review from Finland. This one is a beer of ginger pale ale type. Ancient, that's the name, but it's not reference to the black metal band with the same name, Ancient, but this is Jess and the Ancient One, of which logo you can see, Jess and the Ancient Ones, is a Finnish kind of a occult rock band, if you will. The kind of a style that was pretty much trending earlier in the 2000s. Hard to put my finger on it. Was it more like the first decade or so? But anyway, a band that has been active for quite some time, made up with a lot of metal musicians, but its very own style. There are lots of bands sort of roughly put into the same genre. But anyway, they now have their own beer, and this is indeed Ancient Ginger Pale Ale. Now, I was fortunate enough, thank you to the brewery, to get 4 of these bottles, and this is the last one. I've previously had these beers in different encounters, like one after and during sauna, one just, for fun, like I always do, and one I had in one of those streams, so evening times and sauna times and all that stuff. Now I'm in the middle of work day, supposed to do some work, not beer reviews, but here I am, taking the benefit of daylight, so you get to see the real color. I mean, obviously it's not the same as reality, but let's assume that the camera over here will do its justice. Now I have this rather clean glass straight from the cupboard to give you a little bit of insight how does this one pour down in the glass and what kind of foam it does in front of you real time. That's why I always say one bottle for the kind of review in real time, if you will, so it's not just me and empty bottle do the talking. As you can see, this is not exactly super clear. It's roughly the same color as those unfiltered New England IPAs, that is NAPAs. So it's a little bit of kind of a orange, if I take a look against the light here, kind of a brownish, more into the orange, not exactly super clear, but kind of a almost transparent. That is how it looks like, and as you can see, there's not much foam forming around, but it's kind of almost looks like mead, to be honest, the Finnish type. So what about the scent? Kind of a fruity, kind of sweet also. Actually, exactly like mead type. That's because of the ginger here. Those of you who have tasted fresh ginger, especially with foods like sushi, you know how it tastes like. It's kind of a unique flavor. It's not exactly super sweet, but there's a certain kind of sweetness, which then again goes hand in hand with beers. Especially if you had non-alcoholic ginger beers, you know roughly what to expect. But remember, this is an alcoholic beer, and this is ginger ale, not ginger beer. There's a clear difference between that. The first feeling is actually more meaty than I was remembering. I mean, like I said, I had already 3 of these in different occasions, and since the first bottle it's like a couple of weeks and I almost forgot to do this review, so sorry for the delay once again to the brewery. Anyway, this is fresh. This is not sweet at all, even though the scent might give you the indication of like that. What is also very important to notice that while some beers indeed have quite a lot of carbonated texture, if you will, that is, you have when you gulp it, you kind of have to burp it out because there is this lots of carbon here. But this is very, very little in the amount of that. So this is very drinkable in that sense. It doesn't really make you burp, and it almost seems like there's too little of it. Now, my first opening with the beer was like, is there something wrong with the beer because this is not as carbonized as I'm kind of used to, especially the typical lager ones. But it seems to be the nature of this beast. And once you kind of get used to it, it doesn't really bother. It's just interesting. Now, because of this, a little bit of kind of a fruitiness, This is an interesting one because the ginger is not overwhelming here. I mean, it's present, but you kind of have to look for it. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you know about it and when you're like figuring out what is this odd taste. So unlike so many other typical pale ales of different type, which are often rather hoppy, yet sometimes kind of like lagers, which means it's kind of a mild. This one is, somewhat in between. Not exactly hoppy. I mean, this doesn't really taste very bitter. But then again, there comes the burp. Then again, this is actually quite easy to taste. I mean, maybe it might be a little bit much for people who are getting used to very, very mild lagers and who don't exactly enjoy the taste of beer, who are more about, I'll have my beers cold and drinkable and getting myself ass wasted, rather than, just about the taste and all. So this is a very, very well balanced in that sense. And once again, you can't really go against the gingery taste when we're talking about beer or ale, which is then again a ginger type of ale. So much like you can't really judge a lager, for it being a lager, you really can't attack this one. You can choose to say, yeah, I don't like ginger ales or ginger beers, or you can not like stouts or whatever. I mean, these are kind of a special beer in that sense. But very, very drinkable. And I would say, once you get kind of used to it, actually quite enjoyable. Now, I think this kind of a thing might be a good kind of a dessert beer. Dessert beer. That is, once you've had your steak or fries and whatever, burgers maybe, I don't know, if you do it with the vegetarian version, doesn't really matter. This could be very much something that you enjoy afterwards. Not so much maybe because you just want to get wasted. I don't think this is that kind of a beer. I would say maybe one or two, and then you want something different. Also, this was actually very fitting for sauna because it's kind of a refreshing, and this taste, like I said, it's not exactly overwhelming with its gingery stuff here. I would say overall this is a good one, not a great one. So an interesting beer, and once again a good idea for the fans to give a little bit of an idea what this band is all about. I mean, what kind of beers they wanted to have. That is, I am assuming that the band really did some collaboration with the brewery, not just say, print our logo and whatever beer you have in stock and let's go with it. I think the band had something to do with the taste. At least I'm hoping so. And as such, I think this could be like a little bit of a different window to the band's world in that sense. At least what is really nice, that this doesn't sound like one of those bulk beers, because that is no character at all. And bands like Jess and the Ancient Ones are really all about the character, being, portrayed as unique band what they are. And this is maybe not the most unique beer, but definitely something way more rare than your typical lagers, your typical pale ales, and you get the idea. So, I would say give this a chance. For me, 7.5 out of 10 would be roughly the score I'm giving this one. Good, not great, but definitely worth tasting. So, have a go, and I'll say, kippis.